We all know the famous line of the Juggernaut.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
To me, that's genius. I would love my new introduction to strangers be, I'm Mr. X, bitch. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we're giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the Extreme channel. Today we're looking at Sideshow's Juggernaut Maquette. Now if you're thinking, hey Mr. X, I thought you already did a review on him. Not quite. I actually did this video right here, which I believe might have been the first Extrumble or Extreme Rumble, where we compare and contrast two very similar statues. Now the reason I'm reviewing him today is he's not here anymore in the collection by the time you watch this. That's right, I'm actually putting him up for sale in this auction. That happens tomorrow, but for you it happened quite a bit in the past. Now during design today, we're going to talk why I'm selling him. But before I let him go from the collection, I'm going to do a traditional review on him. And that's always dangerous because honestly, he looks amazing. And even though he's been out for a while, I still remember when he was first teased and they gave out the price tag, everybody laughed. Everybody thought that there's no way people are going to buy him. He's missed, didn't you, bitch? He's way too expensive, yet now he is highly sought after. Now this is the exclusive edition, we'll talk all about that. But a little bit of background for you. This is Cain Marko. He's actually related to Professor X, and he is a traditional villain of the X-Men. Now he's not a mutant like them, but he has a magical suit. And he is pretty much unstoppable. I mean, that's what he's called, the unstoppable Juggernaut. Extremely strong, and once he gets momentum, he literally cannot be stopped. Other than by Kitty Pryde, right below. But enough of that, let's focus in on this statue, and I'm going to tell you why I'm not keeping it when a lot of people think it's just the best Juggernaut ever. Alright, so the first thing we're going to look at today is concept. Now this has an amazing concept, and a lot of the things with the concept kind of tie into the design. So let's start off with the base, and kind of a heads up, it's hard to get a picture of just one side of the base because this really is a 360 piece. But it has a black museum sub-base on the bottom, and on top of that, they're inside the X mansion. There's two parts to it. The back part is traditionally just a normal part of the mansion. It may be a hallway, who knows, where the front part is the danger room. Now, Sideshow's entire X-Men line is traditionally either verse Sentinel or in the danger room, so I like the fact that this pairs really well. Now, we assume that maybe he's breaking inside the danger room. The X-Men were in there practicing, and he is busting through the house to destroy them, to kill them. And there are things flying everywhere because this is a very dynamic statue. So a lot of fluidity to this. This may be one of the most dynamic statues I've ever seen. There's pieces flying in the air of assumably danger room equipment. The ground is crushed in. On the exclusive, you have Kitty Pryde down below. We'll talk more about that during design. Pieces are falling off Juggernaut. He's in the middle of a punch and a running stance. It almost looks like he's toppling over. And he is in his armor showing off his huge form, his huge muscles. This is a maquette, but technically it's 1/4 scale or 4 times smaller than a real life version. And the concept is pretty cool, especially if you think about you could pair him against maybe the Sideshow Rogue maquette right here, which I actually used to own and had them paired off. They looked fantastic next to each other. So I really, really like it. I think they did some incredible things with this, and I do give the concept a 5 out of 5 on this. Now, for all the advantages of the concept, there's actually some disadvantages that tie into the design, and that's what we're going to talk about. Now, before we do, this came in 2 giant, huge boxes. And I remember when it came, there were no art boxes, and people started to flip the fuck out. Now, while I'm not going to show you how it went in the boxes, check out the assembly of this piece. A quick shot of all the different pieces before you assemble him. before we dive into anything else, let's get the dimensions, which are kind of difficult to do. But let's say that this is the wide part of it. The widest part of the base is a little under 19 inches. If you include Juggernaut himself, it goes a little under 25 inches. And then if you wanted to call this deep, it's hard to know what's actually the front of this. 12 inches for the base, and Juggernaut is probably 18 or so. Kind of hard to eyeball it. And his fist goes up to just under 27 inches. Now, they made two different versions, and the exclusive here offered the only switch out or side option, and that is Kitty Pryde. It's a proximity piece right here. Now, Kitty Pryde actually comes with a base, and I think mine's in the box. I hope so, because I'm selling it tomorrow. But I prefer to put her right on the statue, like she's almost in the danger room, trying to stop Juggernaut, because her ability is she can actually transition through solid material, so that's how she stops Juggernaut and gets him caught. Now, one has to give Sideshow a lot of props for the design of this. A lot of it we talked about during concept. How fluid it is and just how dynamic. But I think there's some negatives with that as well. Negative number one is these pieces right here that are part of whatever machine he ripped apart, you have to display. If not, there's large keyholes. So I think that's a miss, honestly. Sideshow could have done a simple keyhole replacement piece to avoid these right here and these right here. Another big disadvantage with this piece is the size. And I don't mean that he's too big. Juggernaut is a huge piece. But the problem is, because of the dynamic motion he's in, he is so hunched over. Some other 1/4 scale X-Men pieces, especially in my collection, that you have him pair up against are actually taller than him, and it just looks really weird. Other than a few key Sideshow pieces, in my opinion, this piece is really hard to pair with other pieces when it's built to pair with other pieces, not only the base, but the fact that he's in such an action dynamic pose. It also makes him very difficult to display. Most cabinets don't go 27 inches high, and as we talked about, where's really the front of this statue? I want to see it all, so I think that's a disadvantage as well. So it's funny, a lot of the things I like in this statue actually hurt the design, in my opinion. But with that, I do have to give Sideshow magnificent props for such a dynamic statue, so it's still a 4 out of 5 on the design, at least for me. Paint and sculpt, they did a phenomenal job as well. Let's take a look at that. So as we dive in, keep in mind this is a comic-based Juggernaut, obviously. So there are some elements that are more based off of that. But now on the bottom, I like how, I really think this black museum sub-base is more just to keep everything together. But I like how you see the layers. You see the concrete underneath the danger room floor. Although it's not done very well in my opinion. It's not bad, but it's not good. It's not great like some other parts of the statue. The wood, I like how it's broken up, but I think it's more the paint job. A lot of this doesn't look like real wood to me, which I've seen Sideshow and many other companies pull off in the past. The dust, explosion smoke they're supposed to be doing down here, not really impressed by that. It's not bad, but it's not as good as some other parts of the statue. Now, as you move into the danger room, I like the bent metal and steel from the machines. It looks fantastic. You got the wires coming up there. Here's another one over here, and you'll see that on his the pieces of that are on Juggernaut flying off. But that awesome danger room floor, it's all cracked up where he's broken it, and I like that blue paint they've added into the cracks. They did that on all the bases. Really quick, Kitty Pryde's portrait looks good. Sideshow's good with female portraits. It's not one of their best. She looks a little too old in my opinion, but the paint on her is clean. Her hair looks great. And it's just a great addition to any X-Men piece. I actually want to keep that, but I know the value when I sell this is actually in her as the exclusive piece. So I love his boots. Not only how they're, you see like the cracked leather wear on them, but the mix in of the black, and then even at the bottom, how his shoes are dirty from that billowing dust below. So that small detail is fantastic. Lots of tread on the bottom of his shoes. I think his anatomy is phenomenal. You can see his stretched pants. You see some creases in there along the seams. They got some black shading in the indentions of the muscle, but it's this different red color compared to the boots or the upper or the bottom part of his torso right here. Again, you can see his abs twisting with the motion of his body, so great anatomy on that. And then you move back to some of that same texturized pattern from the boots down here, but almost on a different level. And like, look at the stitching. So really impressed with a lot of that. Now his skin, I'm not a fan of the texture on his skin, and the color's fine. It's not fine. I'm not digging it too much, honestly. I don't think I'd want it too dark because he never really appears that dark of a guy. The muscles are great, especially like you notice how big it is. Right? Yeah. It's hard for me to say how big it is and not say that's what she said, but how his shoulder is pushed up, and then the blue veins in there underneath the skin. I think they did a great job masking that skin paint with those veins. Really nice. Then his cufflinks, kind of the magical cufflinks, very worn, very used. Definitely look like metal. They're cracked up. Really nice job. Here's a shot of just the back coming down. Super, the bulge of the muscles. Yeah, I've been drinking. Then let's look at his helmet here, which protects him from Professor X. You can see the rivets on the side. I like how this is also a different color. And I'm really digging the expression on his face. He looks evil, he looks sadistic, he looks happy with himself, he just broke in. The teeth look okay. But that's a great portrait in my opinion, underneath there. And again, it's another disadvantage with the design. If this is displayed too low, you're not seeing that. So you almost have to display it high, which creates a whole nuance of other problems. But really good job with the paint and sculpt. A few things I would have preferred differently, but props to Sideshow. All right, so as we talked about on the sculpt, I'm not feeling the skin texture, but I can get past that. I'm not feeling the mansion back here for a 1/4 scale piece. It should have been more detailed. Everything else I'm really, really good with, so I still give the sculpt a 4 out of 5 on this piece. Very impressed. Paint kind of follows those same lines. I think there's a few things I would have liked to see different, but it's still way above average, which gives it a 4 out of 5 on the paint for me. So we're not going to rank value because he is in the aftermarket now. And if you missed out on the auction, he did start below retail. So if you want to see stuff like that, you need to make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you've hit that bell notification. That'll give you first alerts so you won't miss out on stuff like this. They made 1,200 of these originally, and it retailed between $1,350 and $1,400 whether you got the exclusive or not. They made twice as many of the regular as they did the exclusive. You can see there's definitely a lot going on here. I think that's kind of the top tier price for a 1/4 scale, even with all this going on. It'll be interesting to see how much more it went for in that auction. If you watched it, you already know. I don't. I can only tell the future when it comes to gifts. I have an uncanny ability to know what a gift is before it's unwrapped. I wanted to fly or invisibility, and I got stuck with that superpower. Alright, so does this have the X factor? Is it a 5 out of 5 statue? That's what it is. It's not a cumulative score, but when looking at, is this just amazing? I absolutely think it is. I think this would be a great standalone piece because of the problems it has pairing with others, but it's an X-Men villain, so you want him to pair with others. You know, I really can't fault Sideshow. Like I said, really, the only things he looks good with is a few of their pieces. Well, you got to imagine, they're not trying to make him look good with their competitors' pieces, so I do understand that. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones, at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Let me know in the comments today, am I making a mistake? Throw that in the comments, that'll enter you into the contest. Also, please give me a like on the way out, it really helps the channel, and make sure you've subscribed. You don't want to miss stuff like this. Really appreciate you guys watching. Talk to you soon. Take care.